So hello, thank you for joining us today. My name is Steph Rittenauer. I am the CanGrow Grant Coordinator. I'm representing the Office of Cannabis Management, Division of Social Equity, also known as DSE. Today we're providing a high-level overview of the upcoming CanGrow Farmer Training and Loan Grants request for proposals. I'll be clicking over, letting people in, so sorry if I have to pause every so often. I just keep making sure everyone gets in. So today we have an hour schedule, but we only have 16 slides, so I think we'll probably get through everything pretty quickly, maybe in a half hour. Today's call is being recorded and will be posted to the OCM website. You notice that the chat is closed. Hopefully you all don't have any technical issues right now. Everything on the slides I will be describing. If you do have questions, please go ahead and email grants.ocm@state.mn.us. After the RFP opens, we will host 2 more application technical assistance webinars. And those sessions will cover the content of the RFP and provide tips for navigating the application. We also will have a Q&A or chat feature open during those webinars. The RFP for these grants are scheduled to launch the first week of January and remain open for 6 to 8 weeks. You are welcome to request a listening session with us prior to the grant RFP release. If you have questions about eligibility and grant priorities, or want to verify anything before requesting approval to apply from your board or other stakeholders. We do respond to frequently asked questions on the OCM website, so that is a good place to start if you aren't sure if your specific question or concern was addressed today. Our fantastic outreach team coordinated today's webinar and will also respond to any questions or requests for a listening session. I will post the link to the speaker request form at the end of the presentation if you'd like. I also want to acknowledge that I am using American Sign Language. I am a deaf ASL user, and the voice you're hearing is an ASL interpreter. So thank you to the interpreter, Erin, for supporting language access for everyone here today. If you have any accommodation needs for the upcoming application, technical assistance sessions, or in completing your application, you're always welcome to reach out and make those requests. So keep in mind, the information provided in this session is for informational purposes only and is not final. All details regarding the grants administered by the State of Minnesota Office of Cannabis Management are subject to change and should not be considered as definitive guidance. You are encouraged to refer to official sources, that's the website and the RFP itself, for the most current and accurate information. So OCM currently administers 3 grant programs. 2 are with CanGrow, the Farmer Training, and the Farmer Loan Grants, which are the focus of today's presentation. We also have a 3rd grant, the Community Restoration Grant, called CanRenew. CanRenew Community Restoration Grants are competitive grants awarded to, one moment. Those are competitive grants awarded to organizations investing in communities with residents who qualify as social equity applicants. While CanGrow is designed to support farmers in entering the legal cannabis industry, CanRenew grant projects do not need to relate to cannabis. CanRenew funds community-based projects around economic development, violence prevention, civil legal aid, improving social determinants of health, and youth development. CanRenew is scheduled to open an RFP next week, so if you're interested in learning more, please visit our website. You can use the QR code or search the link to learn more about all of OCM's grants. We also encourage you to sign up for the OCM mailing list. There's a field at the bottom right corner of the website, or you may see a pop-up when you visit the homepage. So that's how you can subscribe to the newsletter, and that's really the best way to learn about open RFPs, who received grant awards, and other Minnesota cannabis regulatory information. And over on the right side, there's a screenshot on this slide of Deed. Deed also has a helpful webpage with a list of different types of support for cannabis businesses. So if CanGrow isn't what you're looking for, please visit Deed's Support for Cannabis Businesses webpage to see what other resources might be available. So today we're here to talk about the CanGrow Grant Programs. CanGrow Grant Programs prioritize supporting farmers in navigating the legal cannabis industry by providing access to services and resources from trusted experts and community-based organizations. The goal of both grant programs really is to accelerate market entry and business growth. Whether farmers are starting a new operation, expanding an existing farm, or pursuing another path like opening a store. While helping them avoid unnecessary cost and compliance risks along the way as well. So there are two focus areas: farmer training grants and farmer loan grants. The CanGrow Farmer Training Grants will fund eligible organizations to provide educational materials, training, and technical support to farmers who want to enter or expand into the legal cannabis industry. Project categories eligible for funding will be outlined in the request for proposals, and we will also go over them briefly today. CanGrow Farmer Loan Grants provide funding to nonprofit corporations to assist farmers by offering low-interest loans that support entry into the legal cannabis industry. These nonprofits are typically community development financial institutions, or CDFIs, with experience in agricultural or small business lending. So for this fiscal year, we have over $2.3 million available for farmer loans and training. The grant range for loans is $200,000 to $500,000, with a grant period duration of up to 5 years, with an option for renewal. Training grants are $10,000 to $100,000, with a grant period duration of up to 12 months. So there are different eligibility requirements for each program, but all grantees must be registered and in good standing with the IRS and the Minnesota Secretary of State. The farmer loan grant recipient must be a nonprofit corporation that can establish and administer a revolving loan account. We also want to see a board of directors that includes people who have experience in agricultural business development, experience with economic development projects, and established relationships with farming communities. To receive a training grant, you or your organization must be capable of helping farmers navigate the regulatory structure of the legal cannabis industry. Applicants may include educational institutions, nonprofit organizations, private businesses, community groups, units of local government, or partnerships between different types of organizations. OCM developed a continuum of readiness to help individuals and organizations assess their capacity for success in navigating the cannabis industry. Successful CanGrow grant projects will accelerate farmers' progress along this continuum, resulting in faster market entry and growth for individuals ready to start or scale a cannabis farming business. Cost and risk avoidance for individuals at various stages of readiness, and or reduced compliance risks, costs, and infractions for cannabis farmers. So as you see here, there are 4 different quadrants. The continuum of readiness is divided to help in these quadrants to help determine an organization and individual's level of readiness. One moment. So quadrant 1 in the lower left represents those wanting to enter the industry but have minimal knowledge of the regulatory requirements. Quadrant 2 is the lower right, represents those who have operational capacity but little knowledge of the regulatory requirements, and they may already have a business but they want to expand into the cannabis industry. Quadrant 3 in the upper left represents those with high regulatory knowledge but low operational capacity. This may look like individuals who have worked in the cannabis industry and now want to open their own business. And then quadrant 4 represents those who are ready to open or already have opened their business as they have high operational capacity and understand the current regulations. Let me walk you through what grant recipients are responsible for under this program. For CanGrow Farmer Loan Grants, grantees will use funds to source, originate, and service loans that can support legal cannabis businesses. These loans can cover things like purchasing equipment, vehicles, land, or buildings, facility construction or renovation, and working capital. Loan amounts range from $2,500 to $50,000 or up to $150,000 if matched with equal or greater private investment. Interest rates are set by the nonprofit, but can't exceed the Wall Street Journal prime rate. The interest is retained by the lender for additional loans and administrative costs, while principal payments are returned to OCM to use for new loans. A loan origination fee of up to 1% may also be charged and retained. All loans must be approved by the Office of Cannabis Management, and disbursement happens on a case-by-case basis. Priority must go to social equity applicants, specifically farmers and farming businesses from communities disproportionately affected by past cannabis enforcement. When awarding CanGrow Farmer Training Grants, the Office of Cannabis Management will prioritize proposals that fall into one or more key categories. We encourage applicants to identify one primary focus area for their project, but you're welcome to tailor your approach to meet the unique needs of your audience. The 4 main training project categories are cannabis-specific support. This includes help with cannabis tax law like Section 280E, regulatory compliance, risk management, production, and distribution. The second category is business planning. So think support for business plans, operating agreements, HR structures, zoning, fire codes, and community benefit agreements. The third category is conservation and legal concerns. Projects here could focus on federal subsidies, crop insurance, OSHA compliance, and environmental protections like erosion or pollution control, sorry. And the fourth category is mentorship and expert assistance. This includes networking, access to cannabis experts, support developing SOPs, and avoiding predatory practices. It could also include costs involved with hosting a networking event and removing barriers to having farmers attend, such as outreach, transportation expenses, interpretation and translation costs, and other forms of direct or technical assistance. As for how the training can be delivered, there's a lot of flexibility. Possible methods include scalable resources and online tutorials, printed or digital handouts, train the trainer programs, one-on-one technical assistance, legal, licensing, tax, or accounting help, conferences, workshops, and classroom-style sessions. Those are just some of the examples. So if you have an idea that meets your audience's needs in a different way, we encourage you to propose it. When awarding CanGrow grants, the Office of Cannabis Management will prioritize applicants who have a track record of successfully serving Minnesota farmers, especially those who have faced barriers to education or employment. Loan activities in particular must focus on farmers and farming businesses that are unlikely to move forward with entering the cannabis industry without support and resources. Additional weight will also be given to projects that serve communities where long-term residents qualify as social equity applicants. But most importantly, the core focus of these grants is supporting individuals who have participated in farm operations for at least 3 years. These are the farmers we're aiming to reach and uplift through this program. Let's briefly talk about who qualifies as a social equity applicant under the law. I've linked our website page explaining what the various criteria are for qualifying as a social equity applicant here. What you're seeing on the slide is just a summary, so I encourage you to visit the website. As I already mentioned, target population of grant program participants is farmers with barriers to education and employment, along with farmers and farming businesses that are unlikely to move forward with the cannabis industry without support and resources. There are similar grant programs for entrepreneurs operated by DEED called Can Startup and Can NAV. I mentioned DEED before. If your target population is not farmers, those grants, Can Startup and Can NAV, may be a better fit for your project. But CanGrow is specifically to give farmers access to information and resources. However, program participants may also be social equity eligible in other ways that may be worth tracking as a grantee as a measure of your impact and success. In the broader community, your farmers may be residents of, for example, heavily policed communities or justice impacted due to cannabis prohibition. Sorry, let me back up a little bit, sorry. Yes, if they are impacted due to cannabis prohibition, they may also be military veterans whose service record was affected by cannabis-related infractions, or a long-term resident of a low-income area. There are several different categories that you can track. So OCM has a public map that you can use as a tool to validate your plan to reach and support farmers. You are encouraged to provide relevant data or evidence that you believe supports your work plan, to explain how you intend to do outreach and reach the farmers. We do encourage you to use this map as a tool as you're developing your work plan when you fill out the application. This might include internal demographic data that you've collected, community perspectives, law enforcement or justice system data, or farming and agricultural data. OCM and the grant reviewers will carefully evaluate whatever you submit to determine if it meets the required criteria for serving that target population. Now let's go over what expenses are eligible under this grant. Funds can be used for a variety of project-related costs, including equipment needed to carry out the project, training expenses, and development of materials or curriculum, rental spaces for trainings, workshops, or community events, promotional materials to help reach your audience, consultant fees for expert support, developing plans for safe spaces, especially in training environments, salaries for staff implementing the project, consumable supplies used during the program, and even food, beverages, or childcare for community meetings and trainings. Now, let's quickly cover what can't be funded through this grant. These are ineligible expenses. Grant funds cannot be used for everyday operating costs like utilities or rent not tied to the project activities. Infrastructure improvements such as building renovations or construction. Staff bonuses or performance incentives. Lobbying activities, purchasing land or buildings. Any pre-award costs, those are expenses incurred before the grant start date. For example, if you paid somebody to help you write the grant application, you can't reimburse that. Also, administrative costs over 10% of the total budget. For the loan, it's 15%. For the training, for the TA, it's 10%. So just something to keep in the back of your mind as you're filling out your work plan and your budget. So now we're on the last two slides. Here is our tentative timeline, hopefully. This is subject to change, so do make sure that you subscribe to updates. We plan to open the RFP, this is again the timeline, the hopeful timeline, on January 5th and close on March 2nd. They're both Mondays. Questions about the RFP will be welcome through late February 2026. And we will post all responses on the frequently asked questions page of the website. So the application closes March 2nd, and then from March to June, we will be reviewing applications, selecting finalists, and working toward grant contracts with a start date of July 1st, 2026. That's the goal. As previously mentioned, some of the training grants are 12-month max, and then the loan grants have a 5-year period. So that's it for me today. Thank you for your time. I look forward to getting some emails, questions. If you have any, please feel free anytime. Again, this is our contact information. Check out our webpage. You can also email us at grants.ocm@state.mn.us or visit our website. If you want to request a listening session with us, please visit our website, fill out the speaker request form, and someone from the outreach team will reach out to you to learn more about your needs and make arrangements for a listening session with us. And that's all. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.